at 4:15. I invite the mover, Honorable Junet. Once it's moved and seconded, Junet, if you can move in 5 minutes or so, then Owen Bayer, you will second. We propose the question. Members will be given 3 minutes each.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that this House adopt the third report of the Committee on Appointments on the approval hearings of nominees for appointment as the Cabinet Secretary for East African Community Affairs and Regional Development and Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, this report contains the proceedings of the Committee on Appointments relating to the approval hearings of the following two persons for appointment as Cabinet Secretary for East African Community Affairs and Regional Development and Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya, as forwarded by His Excellency the President on 30th July 2024 and communicated to the House by the Speaker on 31st July 2024, Mrs. Beatrice Askul Moe, CS for East African Community Affairs and Regional Development, and two, Mrs. Dorcas Agik, Odong, Odwor, OGW, EBS, Senior Counsel, Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya. Subsequently, the Honorable Speaker referred the CVs of the nominees to the Committee on Appointments for approval hearings in accordance with Section 6 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, CAP, and Standing Orders 2044 of the National Assembly, Standing Orders. Further, the Clerk of the National Assembly notified the nominees, Mr. Speaker, and the public that the committee will conduct the approval hearings on Friday, 9th August 2024 at the Mini Chamber County Hall, Parliament Buildings. Honorable Speaker, the committee also invited the public to submit memoranda by way of written statements on oath, affidavit, on the suitability of the nominees. To this end, the committee received 4 memoranda. 1 was hand-delivered and 3 submitted by email. Section 6(9) of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act provides that any person may, prior to the approval hearing and by written statement on oath, provide the clerk with evidence contesting the suitability of a candidate to hold the office to which the candidate has been nominated. Honorable Speaker, out of the memoranda submitted, only 1 complied with Section 6(9) of the Act, while 3 were not in the form of affidavits and hence did not meet the requisite threshold. A detailed analysis of the memoranda is contained in Chapter 3 of the report. Additionally, it is not worthy that for memoranda that did not meet the requirement of the law, the committee converted them into questions, and the members of the committee examined the nominees on all the questions from the public as evidenced by the report. Honorable Speaker, the committee also conducted background checks on the nominees by seeking references from the EACC on ethics and integrity, help on higher education loans board, Mr. Speaker, DCI on criminal records, ORPP on holding offices in political parties, and KRA on tax compliance. Honorable Speaker, in considering the suitability of the nominees for the appointment, the committee considered the constitutional and statutory requirements relating to the offices in question and whether the nominees' abilities, experience, and qualities meet the needs of the said offices. Honorable Speaker, further, the suitability of the nominees was assessed after scrutiny of their background, academic credentials, and professional qualifications, work and professional experience, personal integrity, as well as their performance during the approval hearings. To this end, the committee observed that 1, in addition to the already appointed cabinet secretaries, the nominees were drawn from various ethnic groups, including marginalized communities, and thereby a representation of Kenya's diverse communities. The nominees demonstrated an understanding of the mandates of the office to which they were being nominated. They articulated clear visions for the offices, Mrs. Beatrice Askul Moy is a career civil servant with vast experience in social governance and of arid and semi-arid lands. Ms. Dorcas Agik is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya with over 15 years' experience as a distinguished legal practitioner, hence meets the requirement for nominations as Attorney General enshrined in Article 1563 and 166 of the Constitution. She has served for over 30 years in the public service and exhibited a great sense of the roles of the Office of the Attorney General. On behalf of the committee, Mr. Speaker, Honorable Speaker, allow me to thank the nominees for offering themselves to the country and also thank the Office of the Clerk. But having said, Mr. Speaker, and having been part of the committee on appointment, Mr. Speaker, I participated also in the vetting of the nominees, Mr. Speaker. And I can tell this House, Mr. Speaker, without fear of contradiction, that this is now the real example of women that can lead this country, Mr. Speaker. Distinguished women, women who have prospered in their career, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the nominee for the Attorney General position, Mr. Speaker, when she appeared before us, Mr. Speaker, and she was somebody known to you, Mr. Speaker, for quite some long time, Mr. Speaker, and you worked with her in your profession of the legal fraternity, Mr. Speaker. The lady was exemplary, Mr. Speaker. If the President has rewarded, Mr. Speaker, merit, Mr. Speaker, somebody who deserves a job, Mr. Speaker, then it was in the appointment, in the nomination of Mrs. Dorcas Oduor, Mr. Speaker, as the Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, that lady had vast experience in the field that she has been sent to serve, Mr. Speaker. She knew everything, from legal matters to treaties to all kinds of things that we questioned on her, Mr. Speaker. The exemplary work she has done in the ODPP, Mr. Speaker. I think, Mr. Speaker, this is a good example of women. Now, I am convinced that women can lead this country, Mr. Speaker. When I saw the interview of that lady is when I got convinced from that day that we can accept women leadership now, because we are always men chauvinists, Mr. Speaker. Men chauvinists. Now I've agreed that women is a good example of a leader, is a good example of a person who can be trusted with an office, Mr. Speaker, that deserves to be trusted to a woman, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there is, Honorable Shakil is making noise here saying that why am I not appreciating my wife, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, my wife is known in my constituency because she campaigns for me and she's a distinguished leader in her own right. But today we are discussing the appointment of the Attorney General and Mrs. Beatrice Askul, Mr. Speaker. Mrs. Beatrice Askul, Mr. Speaker, is somebody known to me. She was in our election board. This is a lady who has shown how you can come from the bottom of the pyramid and go far, like today being a cabinet secretary in this country. Mr. Speaker, no, bottom up is another case. But this one is a bottom up for a different matter, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this lady also has shown this country that women from minorities, women from marginalized communities can also be leaders in the country, Mr. Speaker. This country is very proud today, Mr. Speaker. If the House approves these two ladies, Mr. Speaker, we will be sending a message to this country and to the international community that we have women of high standard, women of integrity, women who can lead this country and even lead international organizations, Mr. Speaker. When I saw Dorcas Agik speaking, Mr. Speaker, she reminded me of Amina Mohammed, Ambassador Amina Mohammed, Mr. Speaker, who was a friend to me. Distinguished, a cabinet secretary who served in the former regime, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I urge this House that let us not take a lot of time in discussing these two women. These are women of high caliber, high standard. These are women who can lead this country at any time, Mr. Speaker. So with those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I support and I request the House to support the committee's recommendation to approve the two nominees, Mr. Speaker. With those few remarks, I call upon the Deputy Majority Leader, Honorable Owen Baya Yah, to second the motion, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the Leader of Minority for moving with passion the adoption of this report, noting that during the interview, he was really impressed by these two ladies. Honorable Speaker, I second this motion very, very strongly, that Dorcas be made Attorney General of this country, and that Mrs. Askul be made Cabinet Secretary in charge of East African Community, ASAL, and Regional Development. Honorable Speaker, allow me to commend the committee first, which was chaired by yourself, for a commendable job, for working long hours and ensuring that the report of the committee was tabled in accordance with the prescribed timelines of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act. Honorable Speaker, the committee, which worked many hours, undertook intensive scrutiny of the evidence that was tabled before the committee. Honorable Speaker, I want to confirm to this House that Kenyans of all walks of life participated in the vetting and interviewing of these people by bringing in very many memorandums and questioning many things, which also shows the growth of our democracy and constitutionalism in this country. Honorable Speaker, the public participated. So if there is any issue about public participation, they participated vigorously in terms of vetting and in terms of ensuring that we got the best. Honorable Speaker, also, we ensured that government institutions like the EAC, KRA, HELB, DCI, and ORPP also brought in information to support the vetting and the committee during that time. Honorable Speaker, I would like to zero in on one candidate, Beatrice Askul Moe, from the marginalized community at Turkana, who started from down there, from a trade certificate to those small documents, and rose until she got a degree, she got a master's. You can see growth in the education of this lady until she became a CEC, a county executive committee member in a county. And she ran a whole department, several departments. You can see even ODM at one time appointed her as one of the members to nominate the running mate of their candidate last time. So you can see a lady grounded properly in governance. You can see a lady grounded properly in public service. You can see a lady that is enthusiastic about serving her country. Honorable Speaker, I think we have the right candidate for the job. All she's required to do, settle in and serve Kenyans, notwithstanding where she is coming from. So I would like to ask this House, as we approve this lady, as we approve Mrs. Beatrice Askul Moe to be the Cabinet Secretary in charge of East Africa, she will be our top diplomat within East Africa. She will be our link between the regional government and the national government. Honorable Speaker, we have the right person, and I would like to request this House to support Beatrice Askul to be appointed as Cabinet Secretary in the Republic of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, Ms. Dorcas Agik Odwor, very impressive CV, one of the best in terms of law practice, one of the best in terms of law within the public service, one of the best in our court systems. She worked once at the Attorney General's office. She has experience, both national and international. A person that we can rely on to advise the head of state in terms of law. A person that we can rely on as Parliament also to advise us in terms of legislation. Someone who will not sit at our legal drafts and look at them without making an input that is positive, that will help this Parliament to actually improve on legislation and the quality of legislation that comes out of this House. Honorable Speaker, Dorcas Agik Odwor is that person that I would like to see her sit in the state law office as the Attorney General of this country and assist us and assist the President. Her job is cut out for her, Honorable Speaker. Her job is cut out well for her. Honorable Speaker, as government has lost so many cases in courts. We know, Honorable Speaker, even Parliament has been challenged. Many instances where government is embarrassed because a law has come here and it has gone to court and knocked down. we want to request Dorcas Odor if she is approved by this House. And I want to urge members that we approve her, that she improves on the quality of laws in this country and the advice that she gives the heads of state and all other government, so that government stops losing cases. We have huge bills running almost to $1 trillion because government has lost cases and the government has to pay. Honorable Speaker, lastly, I want to say this and to pay glowing tribute to your leadership. During the vetting process, you stood out as a nationalist, as a Kenyan who loves this country, and guided us very well during the sessions. Even when it has to take many hours, even when you had to take a break to attend to other matters, but you were there punctually on time. Sometimes you came and embarrassed us earlier than ourselves, and yet you are busier than us. But I want to thank you, pay glowing tribute to your leadership, and for guiding us, and for ensuring that this country has the right cabinet. I want to thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to thank members for listening to us, but I also want to ask you that together we approve these members so that the cabinet of Kenya can now sit, transact business, and we take this country to the next level. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I second.
Thank you, Honorable Mbaya. I now propose the question, which is that taking into consideration the findings of the Committee on Appointments in its third report on the vetting of the nominees for appointment as Cabinet Secretaries for East African Community Affairs and Regional Development and Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya, laid on the table of the House today, Wednesday, 14th August 2024, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 152.2 and 156.2 of the Constitution and Sections 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, Cap 7F, this House approves the appointment of the following persons. 1, Ms. Beatrice Askul Moe as the Cabinet Secretary for the East African Community Affairs and Regional Development, and 2, Ms. Dorcas Agik Odong Odwor, Senior Counsel OGW, as the Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya. Onyango Koyo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for honoring me with the opportunity. I want to take this opportunity to thank the Appointment Committee.
3 minutes or less.
To thank the Appointments Committee for doing a meticulous job in approving the appointment of these very serious ladies. Beatrice Askul, I have known her through the party levels, and she's a serious, level-headed girl. But I want to speak seriously about the incoming Attorney General of Kenya, Dorcas Agik Odong Odwor. Dorcas Agik Odong was born in Sido East, Northeast Kano, Miwani Division, Moroni constituency, but at a later point she met a man of love of her time, Engineer Odwor, and they got married and settled in Alego, Siaya County. So while we congratulate her from Moroni, we want to make it ample clear that she now belongs to Siaya County and not Kisumu County. And that Kisumu County...
Koyo. Dorcas Agik belongs to Kenya.
To Kenya.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for the correction. But because we are living in a political world where people are scrambling for resources, I want to make it clear that while we thank God and we thank the appointing authorities for Dorcas, because Dorcas has worked in a serious challenges throughout her life. Dorcas was meant, if there was no political games, was meant to have been the first DPP in this republic. Those people in the legal fraternity knew when the interviews were done who qualified to be the first. And even the Honorable Speaker knows the truth. Later on, she was supposed to have been the second one. She was cheated out of it. I'm happy and thankful to God that finally the rulers of this world have found a serious person. And I urge them that they leave her latitude to practice her legal prowess without being advised. Let her be the advisor. Equally, while I thank them, I want to sound to those appointing authorities that Kisumu County is still waiting for their chance. During 1992, the late Nyachai rejoined Moi, and they agreed on the way forward. So when Moi did not honor it, he confronted Moi and said, the Kisis are asking for litana. Litana is special meat. So we are also asking that we also part of this country, Kisumu County, they are sending me to ask for their late Anna. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Maina Madenga Nyeri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I support the appointment of these two ladies, and I add my voice in urging us as a House to pass them so that they can be appointed by His Excellency the President into the Cabinet. Honorable Speaker, I think this is one of the areas where the President and this House will have performed quite well in terms of the improved gender parity in the Cabinet. And the other aspect, Honorable Speaker, is the widening up of the space in terms of participation of Kenyans from different persuasions in the Cabinet and in the top leadership organ of the country. Honorable Speaker, I dare propose to Kenyans that I think it is time that we adopted this model of governance every time after elections. That it is not sufficient for the winner of a presidential election to just restrict their sights on the side of the country that actually voted overwhelmingly for the winner. Because once you win, you become a president of the entire country. It is best if presidents going forward will look at the nation with the lenses of the entire nation and always give us the best possible brains in the leadership at the cabinet and other appointments. Honorable Speaker, I look at during the last tenure of the late President Moi, and he had to appoint Baba into his last term when Tinga Tinga was swallowed by the cockerel. Later, the Tinga Tinga was swallowed by the cockerel. Later, Honorable Speaker, we would see Mwai Kibaki come together with a consternation of Kenyans in Raila Odinga, the late Wamalwa, and Charity Giru. And whenever the country has been in that position, we have seemed to perform well. Honorable Speaker, I want to congratulate the two ladies, and especially the appointee for the position of Attorney General. She has a depth of experience and a wealth of experience that can only benefit this country. Honorable Speaker, I support.
Julius Sunguli.
Mr. Speaker, I also join those who are supporting this motion. And I don't know Ms. Moi well, but I trust the judgment of those who know her and congratulate her for being appointed. Mr. Speaker, I know Dorcas Agik. She's a colleague in the law. I know that she has grown through the ranks in the Attorney General's office and also in the ODPP. She's a special one in the sense that for the last two Attorney Generals we have had experience in the other arms of government, one as a judge and the other one as a member of parliament. But this is a distinguished lady who has patiently looked into the law in different aspects. She's been in the civil part of the Attorney General as well as in the criminal department. I know that a lot rotates around the office of the Attorney General, and we as lawyers are looking for a head of the bar who understands us. I know that there is a lot that is going to be coming to this House that needs to be observed by the Attorney General. I know that the Attorney General needs to advise government, especially on what is right and what is wrong in financial transactions. We hope, and I join my colleague who says, we hope that the government will take the advice of the Attorney General and not the other way around. Because it so happens sometimes, Mr. Speaker, that Attorney Generals have to say things that the executive does not like. We hope that the things, because we believe in the rule of law, Dorcas's advice and the accolades we are giving to her will be of good meaning to the government as it is today. The two ministers are joining the government of different political parties. And this is going to be a big challenge. We hope that they don't go there to serve the party that appointed them, but indeed that they will serve the country at large. I support.
Epuyo Nanok.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me a chance to weigh into this motion. And from the onset, Mr. Speaker, let me appreciate the Appointments Committee for a job well done. And we can trust that what you've brought us is work that you've put in your minds and your experience as a committee of this House, and have given this House a report that we can be proud of. Mr. Speaker, I want to appreciate His Excellency the President, William Ruto, for giving us an opportunity to serve in his cabinet. I'm saying us, those of us from the marginalized communities, those of us from those ASAL areas. What we need, Mr. Speaker, is opportunities of this nature. To be able to show our ability, to be able to serve as Kenyans and portray the regional balance, portray the diversity of the Republic of Kenya in the service of the country. Mr. Speaker, I know Beatrice Askul, and the Turkana Nation, Mr. Speaker, is proud and are very grateful to His Excellency for the opportunity he has accorded one of our daughters to be part of the cabinet serving this country. She has exemplified level-headedness, Mr. Speaker. She has served in various capacities, including being among the initial CECs of the county government of Turkana, and she served honorably. And so, Mr. Speaker, it is an opportunity that we want to say thank you to His Excellency as the appointing authority, but I will not want to stop before I say thank you to the former Prime Minister, Honorable Raila Odinga, for having tapped and seen the ability that Beatrice School has shown. And so I want to say thank you and wish them well as they serve this country. Thank you.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika, na mimi niweze kuchukua fursa hii kuweza kupongeza hawa wanawake wawili ambao wameweza kuteuliwa katika nyanja mbalimbali. Mheshimiwa Spika, niweze kusema kuwa Kenya ilikuwa imeenda sehemu mbaya, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na nachukua pia fursa hii kumpongeza Rais wa taifa hili Mheshimiwa William Samoei Ruto kuweza kuleta uwiano katika taifa, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na hii imekuwa sababu ya sisi kupata wanawake wazuri shupavu ambao wana uweledi wa kazi, ambao ni maono ya wanawake katika Kenya nzima, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na pia tukizingatia zile thuluthi tatu ambao tulikuwa tunatafuta kama kina mama, mimi na hakika kuwa hawa kina mama, Mheshimiwa Beatrice na Mheshimiwa Dorcas, watafanya kazi zao kulingana na katiba, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na sisi tunasema palipo na uongozi wa kina mama hata maji huwa yanapanda mlima, Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa hiyo nachukua fursa hii kuwapongeza hasa ile kamati ambayo iliweza kuwateua, ile kamati ambayo iliweza kuwapitisha, Mheshimiwa Spika, na nipende kukushukuru sana, niliweza kufuatilia kwa kina, na nikushukuru Mheshimiwa Spika, vile ulivyokuwa unapeleka mambo hayo, ulikuwa unapeleka kwa uweledi sana, na hukuangalia hivi ama vile, uliangalia ule msimamo ambao wale walikuwa nao na mkowapitisha, Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa hiyo mimi naombea dada zangu, nawaambia mshike kasi, mjenge taifa, msiweze kulemea upande mmoja, mfuate sheria ili tuone uongozi wa kina wanawake unaleta mabadiliko katika taifa. Na Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi naombea Mungu awaweze kuwapa nguvu na ghari ya kuweza kufanya kazi bila kuangalia huku na kule. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
David Ocheng.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I followed the proceedings of this vetting, and I can tell you, because you don't watch yourself, your committee enjoyed this vetting these two ladies. compared to what we saw the other week. Because these two ladies were grace, candor, honesty, heartfelt answers. We watched them and we believe, Mr. Speaker, that these were right nominations. Mr. Speaker, since when I was 17, the first election, every candidate for president talks about Singapore and South Korea and Malaysia. I heard that year, President Moi himself, Baba Raila Odinga was a candidate at that time, and they were saying, we want to build a South Korea. I heard the same stories in 02 between Kibaki and Uhuru Kenyatta. I heard the same stories last election between Honorable Raila Odinga and William Ruto, who is now the president, that they want to build a Singapore. Mr. Speaker, the biggest secret, the distinguishing feature of South Korea, Singapore, Malaysia, has never been the roads are built, not the planes they built, but the energy they put in their character and meritocracy in how government is run. I believe these two ladies, Mr. Speaker, epitomize what public service should look like. And I believe, Mr. Speaker, that in future, if we go this way, then this country can do well. I only hope and pray, because the cabinet is the foremost advisor of the president. The AG is also a foremost advisor of the president for legal affairs. I only pray and hope that other people will not be allowed to come between the advice these two ladies give the president, their dockets, and the decisions that are being made, Mr. Speaker. I believe that Madam Askul can do a good job in the EAC docket, and needless to say, Madam Dorcas is the epitome of competence. Wish them well and hope that they do well for the country the way they did in the interviews.
Bensouda.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. And I would want to stand here foremost very proud of my fellow scholars who are right on track in the world of academia, where Honorable Dr. Joyce Atieno Sogo is found as an academia. Number two, Mr. Speaker, I rise to support Beatrice and Dr. Oduol for having achieved in academic standards. And that was evidence on how they presented their cases, on their publication and thorough mastery of content on what they're going to represent the Kenyans. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the two ladies, and I want it to go on record that I salute, it must be on record, His Excellency Baba Raila Amolo Odinga for the support of the female gender, for the nominee that was exhibited, that gender rule on female is quite fundamental in this country by the President, Dr. Samuel William Ruto. I want also to say that for the peace which was supposed to be maintained, even it was exhibited yesterday when Baba was in a function that President, the late Uhuru, also informed that stability was important. Electing and appointing the women creates stability in this country.
Order, Bensouda. Uhuru Kenyatta is a retired president, is not a president-elect.
Not elect. I'm saying Uhuru is retired. I'm talking on stability. Get the concept of what I'm heading to. I'm talking about stability of this nation. And so I want to say, Mr. Speaker, when this nation has started recognizing the competency of women, women of substance, women who are academicians, women who are effective, gone are the days, Mr. Speaker, where women thought that their bottom powers can make them rise to power. And we are saying that we are not on occasions where women thought that either through sex they can rise to power.
Time up. Dorothy Kiara. Take your seat.
I can't. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also want to join in this motion and commend the appointment committee for the work well done. Honorable Speaker, we are talking about nominees who have qualified to become cabinet secretary after the vetting, and who I suppose this House will have consideration and recommend them so that they can go and work for Kenya. Honorable Speaker, I have listened very passively to the speakers in this House, those who know on Beatrice very well, who has been given the docket of East African Community and Regional Development. And Honorable Speaker, from what I'm getting and even from watching how she performed in the interview, I am convinced this is the right person for that docket. Honorable Speaker, I also listened to the nominee for Attorney General, Honorable the Lady Dorcas Oduol, and Honorable Speaker, I'm convinced she is the right person. And Honorable Speaker, I want to say this very quickly. I heard Honorable Junet talking about if these women, and I want to say for record, Honorable Speaker, women, when given and accorded an opportunity, they can be able to perform much better than even the male counterparts. Honorable Speaker, I'm saying this because it's always said, what a man can do, a woman can do it better. Honorable Speaker, I am saying, in the next subsequent nominations, Honorable Speaker, I want...
Mishimbogo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, sir. Honorable Speaker, I stand to support this motion by the Committee of Appointment. Honorable Speaker, from the onset, I want to appreciate His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto for making an history. He has made history today, having nominated the first woman who is going to occupy the position of Attorney General in the Republic of Kenya. That is an history, and I want to say thank you. Second history is to nominate a woman from a marginalized community, the Turkana, the first woman, if approved by this House, to be a cabinet secretary in the Republic of Kenya. Thank you, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, for making history. Honorable Speaker, when we are doing vetting, it was really amazing. Dr. Dorcas Agik demonstrated knowledge, even on technical issues on the portfolio she's going to occupy. She also demonstrated the path and a roadmap from where we are and where we want to be as a country. The professional experience she has in terms of legal matters. She has worked in the judiciary and so many other areas pertaining law. Honorable Speaker, Madam Beatrice Askul is a person I know. I've been with her in the ODM. She really proved that she's going to bring some measures and strategy to help the communities in the Asal area, having been born and bred in Turkana, being part of Asal area. Honorable Speaker, I think this was the best thing which our president has really done for this country. I know now we are making progress in terms of gender mainstreaming, or rather gender balance. It's now we are feeling the gender disparity which we have been having in this country. I'm so happy that to
Bashir. Honorable Bashir.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. First and foremost, I want to appreciate the appointment committee for the thorough job that we have been doing. I watched the vetting process of these two great women during the vetting, and I can attest that you, as the chair of that committee, plus your members, you handled them very well. Coming back to the two great ladies, I want to congratulate them first for making it to the list of being nominated by His Excellency the President. These are two women who have demonstrated that they have capacity, they have knowledge, and the wherewithal to handle what awaits them. The Attorney General nominee, Ms. Dorcas Oduor is returning back to the Attorney General chambers, having worked there before. And so she understands the role expected of her as the next Attorney General of this country. And being the first woman to also occupy that house, she has all the knowledge and the capacity, and that has been demonstrated. To Beatrice Moe, who comes from Turkana, which is also a marginalized part of this country, and coming from the pastoralist community, I want to also thank the President for nominating the first Turkana woman to be in the cabinet of this great nation of Kenya. I know that Beatrice, having worked in Turkana before, and she started from the lower level and risen to the ranks, has the capacity to perform her duties as East African Community and Regional Development. And I'm sure these two ladies will show Kenyans that they have the capacity to perform even better than most people will think. I want.
Carolo Mondi.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. It gives me great pleasure to stand on behalf of Class of 90, University of Nairobi, to support the nomination of Dorcas Oduor as the Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya. Class of 90, I believe, is the most consequential class in the history of University of Nairobi. We've produced a president and many other leaders in this country. And now we are producing the first female Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya. I did join the Office of the Attorney General with Dorcas, and we have worked closely together for many years, and I have full confidence in our ability to discharge the duties of that office. I'm also very happy to reinforce what Honorable Koyo said, that Dorcas has waited a long time for this opportunity. She should have been our first DPP under the 2010 Constitution if it was not for negative politics. Most recently, we've been working together with Dorcas on establishing a framework criminal investigations law, which we do not have in this country, so as to help in fighting corruption. And hopefully very soon, I did send a request to your office, we will be able to generate a draft of a bill that will regulate criminal investigations in this country. How we train and the qualifications that we require for our investigators, how the process of investigations should be done, and how we can use forensic science and other modern investigative tools in dealing with crime. Secondly, we are also working on nationhood science as a new subject in trying to amend the curriculum so that we could actualize Article 10 of the Constitution as well as Chapter 6. These are some of the matters. I think that draft bill is already with the Budget Committee, and hopefully when she's the Attorney General, we'll be able to move these things forward. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I did request, and I wrote to you, that when an appointments committee gives us the...
And who this House has to approve this afternoon so that they can start discharging their duties. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I sat on the Committee on Appointments, and you actually chaired that committee so well, and it did a fantastic job. We've already approved the first batch. This is the second one. Possibly there's going to be a third one, but that shows how serious that committee is, and especially the lawyers who actually went through the vetting, most of whom possibly passed through your hands. You mentored them, and they are now the leaders who have to serve the country with distinction. It goes without gainsaying that the Lady Beatrice Askul actually demonstrated great knowledge of regional development, especially including ASAS, where she comes from, and mapping out Kenya as the areas that deserve to be considered as marginalized. As for Dorcas Oduor, it is well known, and we now say God's time is actually the best time. She may not have become DPP, she may not have become judge of the High Court or Court of Appeal or Supreme Court, but now she is the Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya, and she has to serve the country with a dedication and demonstration of goodwill, as she has done in the past in the areas she has served. Mine would be to congratulate them and urge them to serve this country in the best interest of everyone as Kenyans. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Asinyen, Women Rep Turkana.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute to this good motion. First and foremost, Mr. Speaker, I would like to thank the vetting committee for the good job. for vetting the two great ladies and bringing them to this level. Mr. Speaker, my gratitude goes to His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto for what he has done. One, for opening up a dialogue with the rest of Kenya. And now, this is the results we are discussing today, Honorable Speaker. It started as a candid conversation between him and other leaders. And now we are having new names in the cabinet, Honorable Speaker. As the Turkana people, we are very much grateful to His Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto. This is the first time a Turkana woman is appearing in the Kenyan cabinet. And we want to say thank you, thank you. Without forgetting His Excellency, Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, for rewarding loyalty. Honorable Beatrice Askul has been a staunch supporter of one Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. So we want to thank him also for rewarding loyalty, Honorable Speaker. Now, at the moment, Honorable Speaker, I'm a comfortable leader because I can really see we are headed to the right direction. The country is headed to the right direction. If those marginalized communities are now part and parcel of the decision-making table, Honorable Speaker, we now feel like we are also fully fledged Kenyans. So we want His Excellency Dr. Samoei Ruto to continue steering the country towards that unity path so that those that have never had a chance to feel to be Kenyans can feel to be Kenyans. I want to thank
Bishop Hamala.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to support this special motion on appointment of the Cabinet Secretary and the Attorney General. I want to applaud you, Honorable Speaker, for the good work you did with the vetting committee. And Honorable Speaker, I want to say that it's a very good time for women of Kenya because the girl child in the past felt marginalized. But with these appointments, we are seeing that women are getting into their space. Sometimes it's worrying that the boy child may be getting in trouble. So this is a good signal, good indicator for the girl child. And what I know, Madam Beatrice and the Attorney General, Madam Dorcas, these are great Kenyans. And also at the same time, Honorable Speaker, it is important to note that His Excellency President William Ruto and the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga have done something for this country. The issue and the notion of thinking that when a government comes in place, it is just for specific people or people with shares in that government. This has brought that to an end, where all Kenyans feel this is their government, they are part of Kenya, and we can be proud of being Kenyan citizens. We can be proud of our government, and we can go to those offices without feeling intimidated or thinking that if I don't own a share, I am not part of it. Even the people in Turkana, people in Western Kenya, people in the coastal part of Kenya are now part of this government. Whether they have come in through the door, through the window, even me, I've come in through the window, and I am on the inside. On the inside, I'm inside.
Wanjiku Moya.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On the onset, I start on behalf of my Committee of Regional Integration to congratulate the two great ladies, especially Honorable Beatrice, who will be working close to us, and also recognizing that the AG is a critical position, particularly this time when we are handling the amendment of the treaty, also in keeping the legal instruments of the community. And the AG will time and again be advising the Council of Ministers. Honorable Speaker, I look forward and hope it is during this time of the CS Beatrice, the incoming EAC Minister, we shall realize the ever-challenging issue of financial mechanism. We have always had the remittance avenue, and we have been looking forward as a community how to resolve this matter. I hope it is during her time we shall realize this, and it will be a thing of the past which has been troubling the community. Honorable Speaker, it is also a critical time because we are already in the political confederation, a transition to the political federation. And I'm proud because this House, through our committee, were able to give the amendments and the contribution. And I am also hoping it is during the CS Beatrice that this political confederation will be realized. As a woman leader in Kenya, in this House, as women of this country, as Honorable Junet have said, we are very proud because we have been able, not looking where the women came from, either ODM or Kenya Kwanza. As women, tribe of Kenya, we have been able to produce two great women who will steer the matters of this country, and we are very proud, and again, I congratulate them.
Rico, member for Turkana South.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to raise my voice on this motion. Honorable Speaker, I want to start by appreciating the Committee on Appointments for recommending these two ladies to these positions. Honorable Speaker, I want to be very clear that this government belongs to all of us. This government, we are shareholders of this government. Despite the fact that we are opposition, you are executive, we are all in one government. Honorable Speaker, to be very clear, Honorable Askul is my constituent. And I have known her from my childhood. She has done a lot in terms of working with the non-governmental organizations, Oxfam, World Vision, and all those NGOs that are supporting the ASAL areas. Honorable Speaker, I want to appreciate His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto for considering the Turkana Nation as part of his government. In addition to that, I want to appreciate His Excellency Engineer Raila Amolo Odinga for having proposed a Turkana, the first lady, to sit in his government. Honorable Speaker, this will bring our nation together by considering the marginalized community. The marginalized community will consider that they are part of this government. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Wakili Mreu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to add my voice, in particular on the job well done by the Committee of Appointments led by the Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to, first of all, thank you, in particular, the Appointing Authority, for proposing these two ladies. And as the Secretary in charge of Legal Affairs of the UDA Party, is in line with our Constitution to ensure that we bring as many ladies to areas of leadership as much as possible. And therefore, Madam Beatrice, Madam Dorcas are aligned in our Constitution. Second, Mr. Speaker, in particular on the issue about the Attorney General, I happen to know Dorcas Oduor for many years as a commercial practitioner. She joined the AG Chambers as a state prosecutor, as a state counsel. She has grown through the ladder, and therefore she knows all the cracks and corners in the AG Chambers. Mr. Speaker, the Attorney General Chambers is the largest law firm. It requires somebody who has got the intricacies of the running of that organization. It has one side on litigation, and the other side, it's all the government in terms of the commercial side of the government. And there's no better person to run that organization like Dorcas Oduor. And finally, Mr. Speaker, the broad-based government is not working. If it were not for the proposal for broad-based government, we would not have the qualities and the knowledge of Dorcas Oduor. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I support the motion.
Jared Okello.
Honorable Speaker, I thank you very much. Firstly, allow me to congratulate our two gallant heroines Honorable Speaker, before the ravaging floods of the 60s in Nyando constituency, the family actually lived there. Then they moved to Muhoroni constituency. And therefore, just like Honorable Koyo, I also claim stake. Honorable Speaker, I have known Dorcas, and she is beautiful both physically and mentally. And Honorable Speaker, she has what it takes to run our legal systems in the office of the Attorney General, if given time to operate, Honorable Speaker. The litany of cases being lost in our courts of law against the government, Honorable Speaker, is a testament that there is a disconnect somewhere. Somebody is not being given an ample opportunity to serve this country in that capacity. If there are other people advising the President over and above the advice coming from the Office of the Attorney General, then that has to stop so that Dorcas can be given an opportunity to serve this country that she loves. Honorable Speaker, I have known Beatrice Askul. I sit in the National Executive Committee of ODM Party, and she delivers her messages, her thoughts in such a humorous way that leaves everybody shocked by how she does it, Honorable Speaker. I have full confidence in these two ladies that I have known so well over the years, that their dockets that have been given to them will have what we call a rapid flight towards progress, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, I support and I congratulate these two wonderful women. Asante sana.
Ferdinand.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me a chance. On the very first, I want to congratulate the committee for the well-done job to have come up with these ladies. And they were thoroughly investigated, and I found the two ladies actually ranked very well in the committee. Secondly, of course, this is the first time we're going to have a lady as AG of this country. And I think looking at what she has rank and file and what, of course, what she has gone through, I think we're going to have a lady that has been able to do a good job as an AG. And of course, therefore, with that experience and of course, having gone through the rank and file, we are very happy that that is going to be our AG as a lady since independence. Secondly, of course, I want to take this opportunity to thank His Excellency the President for having nominated this lady from a very far-off community. And I'm actually my neighbors, and I think the lady too, I think she's going to do a very good job. And of course, when she was vetted again, she knows that she can do a job. And therefore, I take this opportunity to thank the two ladies and wish them well. And of course, to thank the committee for having come up with these ladies for a change in this country. I support. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable members. Before I call the next member, allow me to welcome Mobego Comprehensive School from Belgut in Kericho County, who are in the public gallery. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Kenya is a melting point of many nation states. And Mr. Speaker, all of us must remember our forefathers when they brought us together from different regions to put a claim to this beautiful premier nation called Kenya. Mr. Speaker, these two great ladies, one coming from the nation state of Turkana and the other one coming from the nation state of Luo, will add great value in the governance platform of the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, we also need to thank the President for thinking out of the box, for being a statesman, for bringing Kenyans together at a time when everybody expected things to go haywire. Mr. Speaker, we also want to appreciate your leadership and the way you have steered that committee in the whole public discourse, Mr. Speaker, at a time when there was a lot of public scrutiny. Mr. Speaker, these two individuals, Dorcas Award, will bring in a thorough institutional experience, our knowledge in public law, to transform this great institution called the Office of the Attorney General. And you know, Mr. Speaker, as a person of immense legal mind, that office requires a complete change, Mr. Speaker, so that the problems this country has been facing in legal advice, Mr. Speaker, are sorted out once and for all. My good lady, my sister, Beatrice. Once upon a time, Mr. Speaker, you remember this also, I am sure you remember. One time, Zaimoy went to Turkana, Lodwa, and as usual, after his public prayer, one of the members of parliament, and I don't want to mention the name, stood and said, "What about Turkana?" I think that era is now gone. Every phase of the Republic of Kenya, courtesy of our constitution, plays a critical role in our governance structure. And therefore, Beatrice and cohort, wherever you are, please don't let down the pastoralist nation. Demonstrate, because now...
Chair Orot. Chair Orot, Joseph.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this chance to take time to congratulate the nominees, Dorcas, Agik, and Beatrice, Askul. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, because of especially the perseverance and the patience that the vetting committee had during that time of vetting these nominees. Mr. Speaker, I took time to watch and even observe what was going on. In most cases, Mr. Speaker, you took time. You took time, Mr. Speaker, even to rally behind the committee, and I must congratulate you on that, Mr. Speaker. I want also to congratulate His Excellency the President for endorsing the two names. As my colleagues have mentioned, for the first time in the history of Kenya, we are going to have a lady AG who is going to be the legal advisor of this country, and I want to wish well Dorcas in her new work and new job when we are going to, because we are going to approve. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, this lady Beatrice from Turkana. Mr. Speaker, I want to say that I want to welcome her because I'm in the Committee of Regional Development, and I know when she's going to be approved here, Mr. Speaker, she's going to do her job well. Otherwise, I want also to congratulate the entire members of Parliament also because of the unity that we have together and the way we have been working, Mr. Speaker. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Lillian Kogo.
Thank you so much, Dr. for this opportunity you've given me. I also rise to support, and I want to thank the committee for the good work they did, and I want to thank the honorable ladies nominee who were given an opportunity to serve our country. And as they were being interviewed, I saw they observed, and they were very well versed with Article 232 of the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya. I want to implore the systems to give them money to work, because it is one thing to be given an opportunity, and it is another to be facilitated to do your work well. So I urge Parliament that has the power of the pocket to give them money. We wish them well as ladies of this republic. And when you looked at them, Honorable Speaker, they are elegant, they are also eloquent, they are exposed, and they are well educated and well informed in what they were being asked. And I know they are going to deliver well in their docket. I also want to thank Parliament, and especially the committee that was doing this job. The kind of questions the committee was asking was serious questions that showed that this time round there was no joke, and it was not just a matter of passing nominees. So I want to wish them well, Honorable Speaker, and I know as women they are going to deliver. I want to thank the President, Dr. Ruto, for considering women. And I also want to thank my party leader that given an opportunity, he also considers women. Emancipation of women in leadership is taking a different turn, and I know it's going to be for our good. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Taitumu. Next.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. First of all, may I start by congratulating the two gracious ladies for their appointment. Mr. Speaker, these two ladies exhibited high degree of competence and also in-depth knowledge of their subject area. Madam Beatrice Askul is a real role model for the girls of this country, particularly from the peripheral areas and the marginal areas of this country. Madam Dorcas displayed a high degree of competence in the areas of law, and we believe as a country that this gracious lady will do a lot to bring justice and actually advisory services to the end of state. For this reason, Mr. Speaker, I support and we are impressed as a country, and we are asking all girls, wherever they are, to know that they can rise to the top. What is actually required is to be in school and also to be mindful. And also handwork pays at the end of it all. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I support.
Dr. Nyikal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support this, and I first start to appreciate the work that the committee has done, chaired by you. But, Mr. Speaker, I want to just make one point regarding that it's good that we get these reports early. The last time we got the report while the process was going on, today it is the same. It is important that as members, we actually get opportunity to read this report. While we are doing this vetting, we must be aware that the public is also vetting us, and they read these reports. Sometimes they wonder if you are making comments and not relating to the report. Despite that, Mr. Speaker, I think your team did a good job, and I think you enjoyed vetting professionals of competence. I'm sure you did that. And Madam Askul, I looked at the report. She has done community work, and to be in charge as a CEC in water in ODM. And as you know, ODM is a big, complex party. And for her to have worked so well, that is really competence. My advice to her is that when you go to the East African, she goes to the East African community, let us create a community that we belong to, not countries that are actually bickering with each other. I wish to have the community as the one I knew when I was a child, and even you, I think, Mr. Speaker, where we knew or we belong to one community. Oduore is exemplary. She should have been a deputy prosecutor a long time ago. Look at the international work she's done. The Harare Mutual Legal Assistance Scheme, evaluation.
Haji.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I stand to support the motion. From the point of view of national cohesion, integration, and equal opportunity, I'm now seeing some good light at the end of the tunnel. This is where we need to go, that Kenyans are Kenyans, regardless of which corner they come from. From the ASAL point of view, this now is going to be a role model for all other ASAL areas where our women are struggling hard to make sure that they also come to leadership. So if she has done it, why not others? So it's a role model for ASAL areas. For Madam Dorcas, I interacted with her and learned her during last parliament in my capacity as a member of the National, JLAC, Justice and Legal Affairs Committee member. And I assure you guys, this house, that is a lady to look at. She is a performer.
Don't get
She is
carried
a
away. There are no guys
perfectionist.
here. We only have honorable members.
Yeah, honorable members, I assure you she is a perfectionist and she performs beyond reasonable doubt. And therefore, Kenya is now heading to the right direction. As the chair of National Cohesion and Equal Opportunity, I'm very happy indeed. Thank you.
Opondo Kaluma.
Honorable Speaker, I thank you. Honorable Speaker, let me thank His Excellency the President, who is the appointing authority for these nominations. Honorable Speaker, I looked through the parliamentary approval process under the charge of your committee, and I was very pleased by the competences of these two ladies. But Honorable Speaker, let me mention that this is the first time we are having a female Attorney General in the Republic of Kenya, and the first Attorney General from that side of the country. But Honorable Speaker, let me also add that these are not the only accolades. I served in the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee in my last 2 terms, and Dorcas Oduor was the Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions. I remember the Honorable Keriako Tobiko. He was also the Principal Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions, to Mr. Nurdin Haji, now Director serving the nation elsewhere. Our devotion to duty is something that we appreciate. And let me thank the President for making it possible, Honorable Speaker, that as a country we can truly live the meaning of Article 232. This is one position nobody ever believed a Luo would, a person of Luo ethnic extraction would ever hold, just like the other one of Badi. So we are eternally grateful, and we wish her Godspeed when she serves the country in that sector. If there were time, I would have said more. But let me also congratulate our Turkana sister, a former member of the ODM National Elections Board, for the work she did well, and for the work she'll go forward to do for the country. I congratulate them and wish them well, Honorable Speaker. I thank you.
Omboko Milembe.
Oh, thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this chance. I want to congratulate the 2 ladies who have been nominated and quickly indicate that around 1860s, America goes to war, and in that war, civil war, Lincoln decides to include the opposition in his government. And that's how he brings on board the likes of Betts, Chase, and others, and forms a team of rivals. I believe with these 2 nominees, we come to an end of this broad-based cabinet, which I wish well to work for this particular country. I want to congratulate the President, William Samoei Ruto, for having thought out of the box to create this broad-based government, because it's very important during very unique times to make extraordinary moves. I also want to congratulate Raila Amolo Odinga, because at the time of crisis, he stood up as a statesperson to make sure that we make the government move forward. Otherwise, during very difficult times in any nation, it's very difficult to move forward if you don't have statesmen like Raila Amolo Odinga. And I wish him well as he goes for the AU job. Finally, I want to congratulate the Kenyans. The Kenyans always are very, very strong in terms of going through tough times. In 1971, Kenyatta goes through the coup of 1971. And Moi goes through the coup of 1982, but Kenya remains strong. Kibaki comes in, he goes through the referendum failure of banana and orange, but he dissolves his cabinet, Kenya stands. Under Uhuru goes through the very high court judgment which went through the Supreme Court that presidential elections had been failed. The first one in Africa, Kenya stands. And finally, Ruto must go through this. Thank you, Kenyans.
We are almost exhausted. Omanyo, 1 minute only.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I applaud the appointment of the ladies that have shown the world, not just Kenya, that actually with substance in any gender, what these women are going to do, it's going to actually show the world that we can break the walls of discrimination. We can break what we thought was impossible. This lady who's going, if we are going to actually prove, because I know what they showed us, it proves that they can do it. So both of them were very powerful in their speaking. They showed that they prepared well and they were organized. So people who doubt that women cannot, especially a seat like Attorney General, people are already talking, saying, hey, that one needs a very powerful person. It just needs that kind of person that we have now, committed, very knowledgeable, and who has been there for a very long time. So I believe that the two will make us proud.
Wamrada, 1 minute. Give her the mic. There you are. Or is ahead of you? Give her there you are.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, I really want to congratulate these 2 ladies. I personally watched Beatrice being interviewed, and I really want to congratulate both of them, and especially her. being an example of one lady that has come from a hardship. I had her explain her background, and I thought she's a good role model for the girls in that region where she comes from. And I really want to also thank you, Mr. Speaker, and the panel that you had, because you are also very lenient to her. You are very fair. At some point, she looks panicking, and you people held her together. And I thought that was a good show for all of you that were in that panel. And I really want to appreciate and thank you for standing with her and helping her to compose herself and deliver on what she believed in. Because she knew what she was talking about. I also want to thank the President of this Republic for appointing these two ladies in these positions. And we want to believe that they are going to deliver as they promised during the interview. And thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for that.
Aramalim, 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I also want to join my colleagues in thanking our President, William Ruto, for having a cabinet that essentially, in every sense of the word, in terms of the diversity of this country, is very representative. Mr. Speaker, I'm very happy for Beatrice, the lady from Turkana. It's a very powerful motivation to the girls, pastoralist girls from my own constituency. Mr. Speaker, I have known Dorcas Odwor for the longest. That is one office that essentially is going to be manned by somebody who is not there just because she's from the female gender, but has the capacity to become one of the best AGs in this country's history. Mr. Speaker, we went through a lot of problems, but I'm very happy the kind of the cabinet we have today and its diversity and the representation of the four corners of this country in every sense of the word. So I want to thank the President once more, and let's move on and build our country. Thank you.
Naomi Wako, 1 minute.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also congratulate you for the job well done, as I also congratulate the two ladies, Dorcas Agik and Beatrice. I watched them and I felt proud of their performance. They proved to be capable of the responsibility and the task ahead. And as a woman, I felt proud of their performance. Honorable Speaker, I also want to thank the government, our president, for recognizing the capacity of women in this country and for recognizing them and putting them in different positions. And I am sure these two ladies will perform, and especially the lady from Turkana, because she's my neighbor. I'm proud of her, and I'm sure she will serve this country, and many will be surprised because they will all be effective, they'll be accountable, and they will prove to people that what a man can do, a woman can even do better.
Tindi Mwale. You have 1 minute, Baba.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also rise to support the report of the appointment committee that has approved the appointment of the two ladies. Mr. Speaker, as you know, there's a popular saying that behind every successful man, there's a lady. So I believe behind the cabinet, the success of the cabinet, if we have more women, we are going to see government performing very well. And I also want to thank His Excellency the President for accepting to form the broad-based government, which he has also included members who have got substance to lead, as we have seen with the two appointments of the great ladies. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Rendikiri.
I thank you, and I want to identify myself with the report of the committee which you shared. Mr. Speaker, I was very keen on checking the suitability of the two candidates for the job. Madam Speaker, Beatrice has a serious business to do with the East African community. Mr. Speaker, you know, in the story of deepening, tightening, and widening of the initiatives of the East African community, we believe that she has the capacity to steer the Kenyan position more diplomatically in areas that affect the East African community. Madam Speaker, East Africa is...
Which Madam Speaker are you addressing?
Oh, Mr. Speaker, I apologize, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Madam Beatrice, Mr. Speaker, has the capacity, Mr. Speaker, to analyze and manage the issues that affect the East African community, including but not limited to issues of conflict, issues of trade, issues of democracy and good governance, issues of political integration, Mr. Speaker, and also the issues of ASEL and regional development.
Jeho?
Yes.
Thank
you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to thank the co-chairs of the broad-based government, Mr. Speaker. His Excellency, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, and the President of this Republic of Kenya, Mr. Speaker.
Bowen?
Mr. Speaker.
Order.
Mr. Speaker, I think the honorable member, she is completely out of order. There is no co-chairs of a broad-based government, Mr. Speaker. We have one president, William Samoei Ruto.
Honorable Jeho, you are out of order, and you are being mischievous for no reason.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well noted, but Mr. Speaker, we have a broad-based government, and it was good that we stick to that, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, because of the time, I want to take this opportunity to thank the President for giving opportunity to these distinguished ladies, Mr. Speaker. A lot has been said to Dr. Odrod, Mr. Speaker, and we thank him for trusting her, and hopefully this will be a historic moment. Mr. Speaker, the reason why I stood is because of Beatrice Askul, Mr. Speaker, a fellow lady from marginalized community, Mr. Speaker. Probably who went to school without shoes, Mr. Speaker, and who went and schooled under a tree, just like most of us, Mr. Speaker. Just like many of us, that's what I'm being told, Mr. Speaker. And we want to thank the President for trusting her and giving her to this docket she's going to hold.
Dr. Mutunga, 1 minute. Junet.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to also add my voice to this debate. Honourable Speaker, I rise to congratulate the two ladies for the nomination, subsequent appointment, because they are passed through the committee on vetting. Honourable Speaker, the two ladies show us great potential in this country, especially Dorcas Oduor, who has been instrumental in the advisory and the legal circles. Honourable Speaker, she combines two fundamentals which are precursor to performance. One, professionalism, and she's also very well, long-serving in terms of relevant experience. Honourable Speaker, for the President to think about broad-based government has brought a lot of peace in this country. This is an idea that we need to thank the President for, and for inclusivity, especially looking at different parts of this country, also balancing the agenda finally and looking at professionalism for purposes of advisory. Honourable Speaker, I congratulate the two and congratulate your team for also having done a good job, having been quite professional in terms of the vetting and asking the relevant questions to get the right people to do the job. I thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Member for Turkana, West, is it West?
North.
North, sorry.
North. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support the approval of these two CS nominee, the CS nominee and the Attorney General. Mr. Speaker, I have worked with Askul in Turkana County as when she was CC Water. And I want to tell this House, Askul, Beatrice Askul comes with energy. She comes with competence. And I know by the time Beatrice Askul was leaving Turkana County, she had left behind 160 boreholes dug and equipped. You can imagine that that is contrary to what we found when the county government was coming in place.
where we found not more than 50 boreholes in Turkana County. So you can imagine the work she brings to being the cabinet secretary for EAC and regional development.
Pareo, 1 minute. Then Emasa, you'll close there, and I'll call the mover to reply.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to add my voice to support the two ladies. And before I continue, I want to congratulate the appointing committee for the job well done. These two ladies has proved to have knowledge in the subject that they are being appointed to do. And they need our support because they are capable of doing the work they appointed for. And therefore, I would like to congratulate Dorcas, knowing that she has a lot of knowledge in the position of the Attorney General, because she has experience and for a long time have proven that she knows what she's supposed to do. Then we have Beatrice, who comes from the marginalized communities and can give hope to other girls at home. And she's going to be a role model for the other girls, and these girls will also want to be where Beatrice is going to be. For that reason, I stand to support. Thank you.
Emasa?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. From the onset, I also want to join colleagues in congratulating the two ladies. They were nominated not because Beatrice comes from Turkana or Dorcas comes from Luo Nyanza, but because of their competency, which they equally demonstrated before us, the committee, Honorable Speaker, that you are chairing. And secondly, I want to thank His Excellency the President for nominating the two nominees, and the nomination of the two ladies therefore made sure that the President complied to the two-thirds gender rule in his cabinet. So I want to thank him very much for that. And finally, I also want to thank the President for recognizing the minorities, nominating Beatrice from the Atakere community, of which I belong. That is a milestone for us, and we are very proud of that. And that therefore means that in the future, there will be a test on them also on the table, because now the minorities are on the table. Honorable Speaker, I support and I congratulate the ladies, without forgetting the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga for nominating Beatrice Askul. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Because close there. 1 minute.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on the onset, I want to support these appointments and say that having observed the proceedings of the committee, Honorable Speaker, to me, I think the President made a right choice, and he chose these two ladies on competence, not because one was a Luo or a Turkana. I think he looked at the competence of these two individuals, and I think these two Kenyans, and I hope that as they assume those offices, they'll be able to demonstrate what we saw in the interview and be able to deliver to our great nation of Kenya. Haircut to the President and also Honorable Raila Odinga for working together to make sure that this country stays united together. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Junet. Before you reply, honorable members, allow me to acknowledge Kabianga Junior School from Belgut in Kericho County, who are in the public gallery. I welcome them on your behalf and on my own behalf. Junet. Honorable Junet.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, first I want to take this opportunity to thank members for their contribution, Mr. Speaker, to this motion and for the accolades that they have given to the two nominees, Mr. Speaker. It's very clear, Mr. Speaker, here that today the House is in agreement with the committee's recommendation that we approve the two nominees. And no member, Mr. Speaker, has cast any aspersions on any nominee, Mr. Speaker. And this is a confirmation that the nominees are suitable and competent enough to hold the offices that they have been proposed to, Mr. Speaker. I just want to share with the House that I sympathize and empathize because, Mr. Speaker, I'm aware of some few members on our side who were salivating for the position of Attorney General, starting with Honorable Kaluma, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Kaluma had bought 3 suits. You know, the first, Mr. Speaker, the first nomination of cabinet secretaries were the first batch were 20. So these 2 remained. So I met Mr. Honorable Kaluma in a suit shop, and he was buying 3 suits at a go, Mr. Speaker. Then I asked him, what is the issue? He told me, I am being nominated as the Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya. Then I told him, okay, let's wait and see. So I had to take him for dinner the day the Honorable, Mrs. Askul was nominated. I told him, my brother, this is how the world is. Don't worry, your time is coming. Your time will come, and we will celebrate you another time, not now. This was not meant for you. So, Mr. Speaker, I sympathize with him, and I want to tell him that he can use those suits now in the House so that he can help Kenyans, Mr. Speaker, and he can use it as the Speaker's panel, Mr. Speaker. We want to see when Honorable Kaluma is on the chair with those suits, Mr. Speaker, and with those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to reply. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. All the members on their feet, take your seats. Take your seats. Take your seats. Honorable Kaluma, there will always be a better tomorrow.